describe its form?
No.
Was it carbon-based?
I don't know.
What did it want?
I don't think it wanted anything.
But it attacked you.
It mirrored me. I attacked it. I'm not sure it even knew I was there.
It came here for a reason. It was mutating our environment. It was destroying everything.
It wasn't destroying. It was changing everything. It was making something new.
Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast that says, there's shark teeth in that gator.
Sharks can't have sex with alligators.
That's a different species.
That's a different species entirely. What in tarnation going on over here?
There's some sort of bubble around us, sir.
Why does that bear have a human voice? I don't understand anything.
Look at that ball glowing.
Why is he copying everything I do?
I said knock it off.
Oh, boy.
Today we are covering Annihilation, film starring Natalie Portman from 2018.
Oh. That seems like so long ago. My God.
I keep wanting to say that it's directed by Ari Aster, but that's wrong. It's Alex Garland.
If this was directed by Ari Aster, it would be a lot sadder.
One of the characters would have been somebody else's mom.
Yeah. He's got mommy issues. Oh, Ari. Alex Garland.
Yeah, director of Ex Machina, creator of the show Devs, director of Civil War, which came out last year.
Yep. Also director of
Warfare.
Competent director? Sure.
Yes.
Doesn't always have the best ideas?
Sure.
Yeah. Civil War, looking at you. But Annihilation, I would say, is probably one of, if not his best films.
You haven't returned to Ex Machina in a while?
I watched it. It's very slow. Not a whole lot going on. Obviously, it looks gorgeous. The movie looks incredible. It's a good sci-fi, you know? But yeah.
I'd say Annihilation falls firmly in hard sci-fi.
Yes.
This is really tangling with ideas. If you are expecting like your Independence Day kind of whiz-bang action summer popcorn thing, this is not it.
It's not it.
Much slower, more thematically dense. A lot of characters just saying the themes to each other out loud.
I would say it borderlines on sci-fi horror, almost Lovecraftian.
Mm-hmm.
It wrestles with themes of like existential horror and just like the horror of the unknown and things that we can't comprehend, and how the creature doesn't really have a motive and it just kind of does things. And it's in its nature to do what it does, and it's not necessarily evil, that kind of stuff, and I love it.
Yeah, and it's also tying it to a broken marriage, which is between Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman's being unfaithful with a coworker.
Both former Star Wars actors.
That's true. Star Wars reunion.
Yeah, even though they never shared a movie.
Even though they never shared a movie. I'm pretty sure Oscar Isaac was not. I think he might have been AI in like the last couple movies. Like I don't
definitely
think,
in Rise of Skywalker. For
they
sure.
fly now.
They fly now. The worst line is somehow Palpatine returned.
And they gave it to him because he was the best they had.
He tried his best. I will give him that. He tried his best.
Natalie Portman, also a great actress, stuck in bad Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
In terrible Star Wars roles. So this is a better sci-fi film than Star Wars, but it is less fun. So yeah. Do we want to do our regular segments for this film?
No, we didn't do it for Starship Troopers. Let's just keep it going.
Okay. KALEN, I struggle with this movie because I remember the first time I watched it. The ending of this movie, which we will fully spoil, in as much as we can spoil it, because it's pretty inexplicable.
Yeah.
What's going on? Really just gobsmacked me. Like I do remember finding, and I still do find the first hour and 40 minutes or whatever can get a little tedious. It's a little slow. Everyone's underplaying things.
Yeah.
This is not a film of big, yelly action
Sequences.
There is not a film where people are yelling a lot, except for our spicy Latina, is what I'm trying to say. It's a lot of...
You talk about Oscar Isaac?
Yeah. What does he tell him in Inside Llewyn Davis? Like, stay out the sun a little bit, and maybe we can put you in a trio.
No, I agree. I just think that it has a lot going for it thematically, and just like the sci-fi weirdiness of it is what drives me to keep watching.
I guess it comes down to whether you think It Leaves Me a Little Cold is a feature or a bug.
Sure.
I think it is a feature of this film. It is an alienating film in many different ways.
Well, it starts off sad, and it continues to be sad. Because, I mean, like you said, you're dealing with this relationship between Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac, who were kind of estranged for a while. Oscar Isaac he was like Special Forces, and he's been going on missions. And he was sent to a recent mission where he never came back. And then suddenly he shows back up, and he's a lot different. This time he's kind of spacey, and he acts like he doesn't know where he's been. He's been gone for a year, or something, and he has no recollection of anything. And so Natalie Portman's like, that's strange, that's not my husband, and kind of that's the catalyst for the rest of the film. Also, you have characters who are dealing with cancer, all types of different like kind of heavy things. And so the whole aura of everything is just kind of sadness. And then you kind of get this like cold filter over the film too, just the way it looks, and it feels very isolated. But I think that's kind of the point, because you're entering into this like alien world. Even though it's supposed to look familiar to us, it still feels alien kind of thing.
No one knew anything about your unit. I contacted everyone I could. The other partners knew just as little as me. Was it covert?
Maybe.
What's that mean, maybe?
Okay, yeah. It's covert. Yeah, I think so.
Pakistan again?
I don't know where it was or what it was.
How is that possible? Was it warm? Was there snow? Do the people there speak Portuguese or Swahili or Pashto? How long have you been back?
I don't know.
How'd you get back? What base did you fly into?
I don't know.
What about the rest of your unit? Did they come back with you? You must be able to tell me something. You vanished off the face of the earth for 12 months. I deserve a better explanation than no explanation.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. How did you get home?
I was outside.
Outside the house.
No. No, I was outside the room. The room with the bed. The door was open and I saw you. I recognized you. Your face.
I think tonally, I'm sure it's a lot like Ex Machina, but I haven't seen it recently.
Ex Machina is very similar.
The one movie we didn't mention was Men, which we have covered. That's another Alex Garland movie.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
I think,
him trying to be Ari Aster.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But that film is also, I think, tonally much the same, where it's all about a lady having trauma.
It's also very cold and isolated too.
Yeah. And feeling alienated and like going to a place and being like, something's weird going on here. So we have Natalie Portman. She finds out because, as like we mentioned, Oscar Isaac comes back and then he starts having medical issues. They're in the ambulance and all of a sudden FBI whisks him away and she wakes up in some cell somewhere. And Jennifer Jason Leigh, as Venturous, comes and talks to her, and she's sort of the head of this research facility, and we find out that Oscar Isaac has gone in the Shimmer, this bubble that has this like filmy, almost like if you ever played with like literally like blowing bubbles.
Yeah,
that's
what it looks like.
That multicolored little film that comes across the bubbles when you peer through it is exactly what seems to be covering this portion of swampland. We find out that Oscar Isaac has gone in the bubble to explore. Everybody's trying to get to the lighthouse where this meteor crashed and seems to have emanated the bubble ever since. You
also find out that the bubble is expanding and that eventually it'll cover the entire world, basically.
Yeah. It's been slowly expanding. And until Oscar Isaac returned, they sent people in and nothing had ever came back. People, animals, whatever. They say nothing ever has come back. And we basically find out that because of the guilt that Natalie Portman feels for her affair, and she feels that her affair drove Oscar Isaac to take this, what was essentially a suicide mission. Yeah. She decides to go in there herself along with this team of ladies that had already assembled that were going to be like the next team going into the
also like all scientists or ex-soldiers.
Yeah, into the Shimmer, which includes Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez as Anya Thornton. That's the Spice Latina I was referencing.
Yes.
Tessa Thompson as Josie Raddick, and Tuva Novotny as Cass. So there's like our five-fingered ladies get it done group.
Yeah.
That walks their way into the Shimmer. And the first thing that happens when they get there is they just lose time.
Yeah.
They wake up and they figure out that we've been in here for days and we don't recall anything.
And I love that stuff, man. That's the best stuff. That's like Blair Witch Project-y kind of shit. Where it's like what the fuck is going on? We're lost. We feel disoriented. And that's all great.
Yeah, this film leans really into the unraveling of the mind.
It should be said that this movie is loosely based on Color Out of Space, which is a book by H.P. Lovecraft, or at least it's the same concept. I don't know if the book is actually Color Out of Space, but it might be titled something differently. I've never read the book, but I know it's based on a book by Lovecraft, and which is directly the movie Color Out of Space is directly inspired by that as well. So these are all pretty much the same types of stories. Color Out of Space is a little bit different, where it's like a meteor landed. It's not an actual alien entity. It's more so like, I don't know, some kind of radiation coming off this rock. It's weird. I don't know.
Annihilation is actually a book itself.
Is it actually?
There is a book, Annihilation, which I'm sure, it is cribbing a lot of ideas from Color Out of Space, but it is an actual novel. The only thing I really know about the novel is that I think it was a perfect Alex Garland adaptation, because I was talking about the coldness of sort of how it makes you feel and how all the performances and characters are kind of really like tightly bound and quiet and don't give you a lot. The way it's written is none of the characters actually ever get a name. It's like the science, it's like the biologist, the engineer, they're all known by their titles. And I think it differs pretty significantly in like how events unfold when they're inside the bubble, because I think some of what they do in the book is just not something you're really going to be able to translate onto a screen.
Yeah.
But I think it is covering a lot of the same bases and the same ideas of like mutation and destruction and renewal and
Interesting.
and all that stuff.
I didn't know it was an actual book. That's pretty cool. Thank you for fact checking me on that. But also, I saw some direct inspiration from like Event Horizon in certain scenes and kind of just like tonally. Obviously, like direct inspiration is like whenever you in a sci-fi film, whenever they're about to watch a video log, you know it's going to be bad, solely based on what happened in Event Horizon. And so in this, it's pretty much the same thing. Very disturbing imagery of like them cutting themselves open and like their insides are moving, or there's like some kind of snake-like creature inside of them. Really disturbing visual. And then also as they're investigating this compound, they're finding like people are growing into the walls as like fungus spores, and it kind of looked like The Last of Us a little bit. Like it's really interesting visual. Yeah, it just has a lot of interesting stuff going for it as far as like the world and just like what this creature or what kind of entity is like trying to what would be the word? It's like terraforming, basically.
Yeah.
Trying to create or mimic its own version of what it thinks that biological things are on Earth are. It's just like trying to make its own copy of it, and it's cool. And you get all these like different hybrids of like creatures. You get like the shark gator or whatever, and then you get this bear that like screams with a human voice. Super cool stuff.
And it pointedly eats the voice box, like rips the voice box out of all its victims.
It's pretty awesome.
There is a visual trick that I also is sort of tipping its hand towards the themes that we get into later. There's a lot of shots through like windows and prisms, like when Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman are having conversation after he's returned and they're sitting at the dinner table, they go to hold hands and they choose to shoot it through this little clear glass of water, so everything's distorted as we look at them. And then we see Natalie Portman, and she's in this like glass box essentially that is her little chamber that they ever held up in, and we're constantly like shooting through these windows and watching her through that, and it kind of returns to this idea of prisms. And then eventually Tessa Thompson just says it out loud when towards the end of the film she starts hypothesizing that like the radios don't work because the signals are blocked. They don't work because they're scrambled. They're staring at these plants that are all like grown and flowering and in a human form.
Yeah.
And she's like, this whole place is a prism. Like it's warping and changing everything within it. That's, I mean, it's funny that she just can guess that based on the inexplicable things that are going on, but that is essentially what's happening. That like you said, they're terraforming. Like everything is just changing. Another thing that's brought up early on is cancer cells and how cancer cells always mutate, and like most genetic code is coded to die eventually. Yeah. It's a flaw in the system, but like cancer doesn't do that. And you can tie that, I think, directly to whatever entity is crashed here. Like it's a cancer. It's you don't ask a cancer cell why it spreads. It just does.
It just does what it does. It's not necessarily evil. It just, it's in its nature.
And that's what's slowly happening across this little swampy land that they are exploring.
I'm right about the refractions, weren't I?
Yeah. I checked my blood last night. It's in me.
It will be in all of us. It was so strange hearing Shepard's voice in the mouth of that creature last night. I think as she was dying, part of her mind became part of the creature that was killing her. Imagine dying frightened and in pain and having that as the only part of you which survives. I wouldn't like that at all. Ventress wants to face it. You want to fight it. But I don't think I want either of those things.
what do we think about, and Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's an actress, I think the only time we've talked about her on the pod is when she co-stars in Hudsucker Proxy as the reporter. So I know she has range and can do a lot. Of all the characters that are kind of quiet and disaffected, you would think she is a total zombie. The way she speaks is so cold.
So I watched the RLM review of this, and they mentioned how this character has cancer and that it's more so that she's like defeated with life in general, and she has no real reason to keep going on, and so it's kind of, she's more so reluctant to go along with this trip because she just like, this is it for me, you know? And so she's like, I don't know. But also, too, it's like, you could emote a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just so sleepy.
Like, I think it's kind of problematic because when we get to her, so the ending is, I think, what really makes this movie. Like, the final 20 minutes are really amazing, and I'm going to spoil some of it, or probably all of it by the end of this conversation, so be warned if you haven't seen it and are interested. I would recommend you watch Annihilation if this is piquing your interest. When Jennifer Jason Leigh like goes down the hole and Natalie Portman follows her and she's been there for a while and she's kind of like catatonic, it's like that performance is not that different from the way she's acting when she's been quote unquote normal this whole time. So while it's a great scene, it's like that performance could have more impact in that moment if her performance outside of that was a little more lively.
Yeah.
Like, or that she gets more dead and hollow like the longer she spends in this.
And it'd be funny because it's like, it's not like she doesn't have that range. I mean, we've seen her in Hateful Eight, and she has a fantastic performance in that. It's just interesting because most of the actors in this are just very sleepy to begin with.
And yeah, we've seen more from all these people: Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Natalie Portman. Like we've seen more, so it's clearly a choice. It's the thing I find hardest to just, I don't know, watch. And then I also find it hardest to recommend, where it's like you're gonna watch all these characters and like all of them are gonna be like so cold and quiet the whole time. It is the mood. Again, it goes to the thing whether it's a feature or a bug, and I kind of flop back and forth because like sometimes I'm like, I get it, this is the tone, and other times I'm like, I wish we could, change
have
up
a little more urgency to what we're doing,
change up the pace a little bit or something.
Yeah, but also too, I kind of think it adds to like the dreamlike quality of the film, where it's like it feels like this is not reality, and how do people talk in your dreams? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's very subtle, and it's not like, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're dreaming about, but it's most of the time incoherent and pretty, like, people are just saying things, and it's not like a super elevated performance. And so I kind of understand that from this perspective, where it's like we're going into this alternate reality almost, where it's like things are changing around us, and I feel like disoriented. So, I don't know. It is kind of a weird design choice.
I mean, it's a different choice than like Blair Witch Project is the same thing. And
they're just freaking the fuck out.
They're just screaming at each other the whole time.
But I guess maybe if you put scientists into this situation, where it's like they look at things from a more clinical perspective, where it's like maybe they'd be more calm about it.
That's true. Not just some
teens who are making a documentary. Let's talk a little bit about the ending, because it is a bit ambiguous, at least right before the credits roll. But the actual ending sequence at the lighthouse, one of my favorite sci-fi scenes ever. It is so interesting, and it really conveys that. That's why I go back to this is sci-fi horror. It's the horror of the unknown, and just like, what am I looking at, and what is it trying to do to me, basically. And that's so terrifying. And it starts off with, she makes it to the lighthouse. She finds Oscar Isaac's dog tags, or
she being Natalie Portman,
Natalie Portman finds like dog tags. She finds remnants of like Oscar Isaac being there. She goes into this hole that's like burrowed deep into this lighthouse.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yes, go for it.
Because what she finds is Oscar Isaac's mummified, burned body.
That's what it is.
And she clicks the tape and she watches the tape.
Yes.
Where Oscar Isaac, for some reason, has a southern accent, which I've heard theorized is that like one of the many things. Like there's a tattoo that starts moving around onto different characters while they're in there. And like one of the things that's warped about this version of Oscar Isaac is he's like taking on the accent of one of the other soldiers.
Yeah.
Because now he has the southern drawl, which is just a little detail that's not super important. But he's addressing someone behind the camera, talking about how disoriented and how his mind has, just been let loose and he can't handle it anymore. And he blows himself up with a phosphorus grenade. And then we see another Oscar Isaac pop into frame. Yeah. That's the Oscar Isaac that's made his way to Natalie Portman's house, is now sitting bedridden and ill outside the Shimmer. And that's when Natalie Portman decides to go down the hole because she hears Ventress speaking and screaming down there.
She goes down there. Ventress is being like really weird and like doing goofy shit, talking in that voice or whatever. And this like weird thing opens and she looks inside of it and there's like a light in it, but the light just keeps like, the way they made this, I still am kind of flabbergasted by because it's so bizarre looking and alien. And I'm just like, how could a human mind kind of comprehend how to make something that looks like that? You'd have to see the scene for me to describe it for you. But it's just so beautiful. And then the music, you'd have to do it. You did it better than me.
Yeah. And then there's a really low note I can't hit.
Yeah. And so you have that, and then you see Natalie Portman just like looking into this light, and she's just completely captured by it, and it's like reflecting in her eyes. The scene, it's just so gorgeous, and it's so beautiful, and so weird and uncanny. And then you get the whole doppelganger scene after that.
It's very, like she's really entranced.
Yes.
And I think it's all part of the plan because that segment ends because a drop of blood enters the little...
Yeah, it comes out of her eye. Or
and
whatever.
enters the little orb, and that's when we start getting the doppelganger thing, which starts as... It's in a human form, but it's just this like glossy, shimmery-looking exterior, no face.
It's like trying to learn your movements, and it's just super bizarre.
There's this little like sort of dance they do. There's a moment where the thing like pins her against the wall, and then I think she realizes that, or no, she passes out a couple times. She passes out after that, but then the thing's just sitting there staring at her, laying down next to her when she awakens, and they kind of do this dance, and she realizes that the thing is mimicking her. But then she sort of flips the coin on like the Oscar Isaac situation she's seen earlier. She grabs a phosphorus grenade, and they kind of like hold hands, her and this entity. And as she pulls the pin, she runs away. Yeah. Grenade goes off. Like everything in the lighthouse bursts into flames. We used to see like these crystal tree structures that lined the beaches that were sort of like the first thing that the entity warp start catching in flames, and we realize that everything is slowly, dying. Everything that's been tied together by this thing is slowly dying as Natalie Portman. We don't really see how she gets out, but the movie is bookended by her being interviewed by Benedict Wong about her experience, so we know that somehow Natalie Portman is now, back at that base. Yeah. Back where Oscar Isaac is as well. And it's like retelling the tale of what she experienced.
And they keep asking her, like, what did the entity want? She's like, I don't know, man. Like, and that's the best stuff of the movie to me. Just like the whole, just like, what even was the point of this, really? You get no clear answers, and some people probably hated that about this film, where you just like, you're left with no answers, and I just think that's the best type of storytelling for this type of story.
I think you could really compare and contrast that and like our Area 51 experience in Independence Day, which ends with them asking the alien what they want, and they say die. Which I think for a lot of audiences is like what they want. They want the simple answer, and they want just an evil thing that they can blow up by the end of the movie. And the evil thing does get blown up by the end of this movie, but it is not in this. She even says, Benedict Wong like implies that it was destroying things, and she was like, not destroying. It was changing things. Yeah. It was making something new. I don't know whether it's better or worse, but It wasn't, you know.
I think also too the ending is like ambiguous whether or not she's her actual self.
Well, I think the way you would read it, because it's very clear that the mimic version of herself, because we forgot to mention that the mimic at the very end, as they're holding hands, takes her whole form in her face and just looks like a second Natalie Portman, just like there was a second Oscar Isaac in the videotape she watched. But that is the version that dies there. But it's also clear that the Shimmer version of Oscar Isaac is the one that is now out at the base.
Yes.
And then she asks to see her husband, and they embrace. And as they embrace, it like looks in both their eyes, and they both have this like shimmering color in their irises. And I think the idea is it doesn't matter because, like, Natalie Portman is not the doppelganger, but she's forever been warped and changed on a molecular level.
Yeah.
From this thing, and I think that also ties into the like they are this couple that went through this emotional trauma, which is like everything, all the drama that's happening outside of the Shimmer with her infidelity and stuff, and they are both forever changed by this experience.
Yeah.
And even this doppelganger version of Isaac, they still have this connection because they are the two beings that have dealt with this and lived this.
Yeah.
And you can
trauma,
read that.
It's trauma bonding.
Yeah. And you can kind of read it. Like, I know there's a lot of, like, explainer videos for this that are like, and now the entity is going to take over the world and continue on and another thing. And I'm like, I don't even know if that's really
Annihilation explained.
That's not the point. Like, what happens outside this final moment is, like, really not the point of the movie at all. Like, you can draw that line if you want.
You always know, like, the mark of a good movie is, like, the main catalyst of the film or the main, like, plot is not the point. You know, the big monster is not the point of the film. It's the characters and what they go through. That's what makes good stories compelling, because you gravitate to these characters that are put in front of you and you go through this experience with them, and it's not about the monster that they're facing. It's about how they overcome this obstacle and how it forever changes them.
Yeah.
Again. So from that perspective, this movie is pretty awesome, especially in the realm of sci-fi, and I believe this is a film that is highly, highly overlooked, and which is unfortunate because it's got a strong cast, great performances. I know we talk about the sleepiness of everything, but there's still some solid performances in this.
This was Alex Garland's blank check. This was the movie where I think they dropped almost $100 million on this movie. Did not make its money back. And after the success that was Ex Machina, now he's kind of reverted back into some slightly smaller projects.
Yes. Warfare is doing great, though.
Warfare's doing great. I think Civil War did pretty good. So I think he may be back to doing larger stuff soon. But
as far as like Annihilation, like the movie looks amazing. It's like got such a interesting look to it, and I really love the scene we kind of brushed over. But when like the plants were like mimicking like the way they looked, the way they were growing, they look like people. Like just like interesting little subtle things like that, little details. So much detail to this world and environment, and I just think a lot of effort and a lot of work went into this film. And if you're a fan of sci-fi and you haven't seen this movie, you definitely need to check this one out.
Yeah, I just want to quick run a couple moments that I think we glossed over. Tessa Thompson's sort of final... She has a speech where she's like, Ventress wants to find what's in the lighthouse. You want to fight it, addressing Natalie Portman. And she says, I don't know if I want that. And it's addressed earlier in the movie because everyone has trauma. Tessa Thompson is like this depressed, fresh college graduate. We see all the like cut marks on her arms. But then we see out of it that little tiny like sprouts of plants have started growing out of some of those scars. And she just wanders off. And when Natalie Portman turns the corner, there's just a field full of those plants shaped like humans.
Yeah.
Tessa Thompson's probably one of them now.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of like, instead of fighting it or finding it, she's just kind of embraced it and kind of, she's one with the Force now.
Yeah.
Basically. Which I think is a great scene. The writhing intestine scene, like that found footage is pretty disgusting and really one of the things into your mind. We also glossed over the Scream Bear, like we mentioned it, but the Scream Bear scene is, I don't know. I think it's a new pantheon of just like creepy, a new addition to the pantheon of certain like creepy, memorable monsters
for sure.
in sci-fi films. Just the idea of this bear that screams like a...
I'm glad that they didn't just like keep that bear going though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was there for that one scene and then it's gone. Well, 2 scenes. There was a scene where it was in the field or whatever, and then the scene where it came into the house. But I'm glad it wasn't like the final you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, I got you guys now. I got you cornered on a cliff. You know
It's
what
like
I mean?
Natalie Portman with a M16 facing off a
If this was any other movie, that would be
style,
it.
Me v Bear.
Yeah, that would be the one, you know, but it ends on a very like subtle and like beautiful and mysterious kind of note. And that's what I really love about sci-fi is like you can do weird shit like this and get away with it. You know what I mean?
I want to make just a montage cutting back and forth between like the swelling music and an imagery of like the mimic like dragging the fire into the lighthouse and everything going into blaze.
Yeah.
And then cut to Randy Quaid going "Ah!" as he crashes into the spaceship in Independence Day. It's like inside you there are 2 souls. There's the one that wants to watch Randy Quaid crash a plane, and there's the one
saw that doppelganger. He was like, I need me one of those.
2 wheels.
Hell yeah. Jada will love me then.
What is this? That Ang Lee film? Remember the one where he has the doppelganger version of himself? The younger version of Will Smith fights Will Smith in the movie.
Oh, Afterlife or After Earth?
No, After Earth is with his actual son, but there's
a younger version of Will Smith in that too.
Okay, well, it's not the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let me find this Will Smith movie. Do you not know what I'm talking about? I'm pretty sure it's an Ang Lee movie. Hold on, guys. This is too important for me to leave behind. Not Bad Boys, Ride or Die. If not Bright. You remember Bright?
Is that the
Gemini Man
Pork movie? Gemini Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ang Lee. It's literally like old Will Smith.
Oh, maybe I'm getting that mixed up with After Earth.
Yeah.
They both look like shit.
Oh yeah, it has it has like a 2.4 on.
I feel like the doppelganger, like horror, is underutilized. That's such a like creepy concept.
KALEN, I don't know if you realize that 2025 is the year of twins. There's been a lot of twins in movies.
Really?
Sinners.
Oh yeah.
But there's at least a few more examples just from this year of twins, cinematic twins. Hold on. Oh, Mickey 17. Obviously.
Yes. I actually just watched that the other day, and I was not a big fan.
And the monkey.
The monkey.
Twins.
Yeah.
A lot of cinematic twins so far this year.
Oh, we did go see Sinners last weekend. It was interesting. I think we kind of walked away with like mixed feelings. Oh,
Yeah.
let's answer our final question first, and then we'll get into Sinners a little bit.
Okay.
Is Annihilation a perfect movie?
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way. I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And it was perfect. Perfect in every way.
KALEN, what do you think?
No, because I don't think that. I don't want to say mass appeal because we do not judge our films based on mass appeal, but I feel like this is one of those movies you can't just kind of throw on whenever.
Yeah.
You really have to be in the mood for it. It is very somber and frankly pretty depressing. But it's still a beautiful film, and it's really, really worth the watch, especially for sci-fi fans. So maybe Purgatory?
I think we should put it in Purgatory. Because I would maybe tend towards it being on the list, because the first experience of watching this movie is
Pretty mind-blowing.
pretty mind-blowing. It was like one of those things that kind of ate away at my mind for the longest time after I watched it.
Yeah.
Really stuck with me, which I think is a genuine accomplishment. So, yeah, let's put it in Purgatory. We have not added to Purgatory in a while.
Yeah.
Let me see what we got on going on purgatory.
I know we got to clean up that list eventually.
We do. All right, we have 15 movies in Perfect Movie Purgatory, which also, as I'm doing our ongoing list, by the time this episode comes out, I just want to give us some final numbers because we've been pumping at this for a while. So I've been keeping up a letterbox list of all the films that I've covered. We have covered on the Perfect Movie podcast, not including like our end of year ones where we have like a dozen plus movies. I'm sure they could cover. Those have not been added. Having just posted Independence Day, we are at 106, although by the end of this month we'll be at 109. And we will have 40 movies on the Perfect Movie list out of the 109. Nice. And now we have 15 in Purgatory.
That's a pretty high percentage.
You want to hear our Purgatory films?
Yeah.
Men, another Alex Garland thing. That one, I'm sure as soon as we do our cleanup, we can knock it.
Yeah, for sure.
Die Hard. That's a tough one. Shawshank Redemption.
I'm trying to think, why did we put Die Hard on the Purgatory list? Why isn't it a perfect movie?
If I recall correctly, I think I was the main stickler where I was just like, this is not a movie that really does it for me. I like it, but it's not.
Okay.
I think I'm in love with Shawshank Redemption. Tough one.
That is tough. Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's also a tough one.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I think that was me putting it on Purgatory.
I feel like that might get knocked off.
Probably. Spirited Away. I think because I didn't
you're
fuck with
a
it.
hater of that film. For sure.
Hereditary.
I think it belongs there.
50-50. Talk to Me.
I think it also belongs there. Yeah.
The Banshees of Inisherin. I'd put it on the list. It's just one of my faves.
Now that I've seen it and it like had time to digest, I'd probably put it on the list too.
Dune 2. I think we just put it in Purgatory because we'd been fresh out of the theater.
Yeah.
The Lego Movie. The King of Comedy. Casino. Casino, I think when I first rewatched it, I was like, I don't, because we did it back to back with Goodfellas, and I thought it's just like kind of Goodfellas again, but I might be willing to reconsider it. Although if I was going to pick between Casino and King of Comedy, I'd probably pick King of Comedy.
Really?
I love King of Comedy.
I know you do love that film.
Inside Llewyn Davis, another Oscar Isaac joint, and Annihilation now are our Purgatory films, which, sheesh. We got to come up with like a number so we make it hard where it's like we can only induct, like there's 15, we can only induct 7 or 5 or whatever. Yeah. So we have to like argue it out and pare it down. Would be my suggestion.
Yeah. We'll make that video soon then. Try to get those out of there. What's our perfect movie list looking like?
Oh man, you want me to go through all these?
We don't have to go through all of them. But you said how many do we have on there?
We have 40 now because I'm about to put... no, wait, we didn't add Independence Day.
Did we add Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers will be, but I'm not going to add it quite yet because I'm not posting that episode for a minute probably. Let me just look through this list, see if there's any ones. Although it is kind of peaked up by we inducted all the Lord of the Rings movies at once, so that's like a 3-for-1.
Yeah.
I feel like the one you always come back to, why did we put this on the list, is Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah. It's a really well-made movie, though.
The people who might have problems with is that AI. People don't like AI. Remember the Titans?
AI is so good, dude. I love AI. Remember the Titans is awesome. That's a great movie. I'm sorry. Fuck you.
Well, we're going to love all these movies.
Yeah,
we put them on the list. Yeah, it's an interesting list. So you can feel free to check that out.
Did we put Nacho Libre on there?
Nacho Libre's on the list. I can just go down the list here. Sorry, 40 movies. We'll go fast. Roll call. Mad Max Fury Road. Do the Right Thing. Empire Strikes Back. The Lighthouse. Django Unchained. Napoleon Dynamite. All of the Lord of the Rings. Scream. Halloween. Judas and the Black Messiah. School of Rock. Scott Pilgrim. Into the Spider-Verse. Grand Budapest Hotel. Dark Knight. Raising Arizona. Nacho Libre. Dead Poets Society. Mad God. Alien. Goodfellas. Silence. Big Lebowski. Fargo. No Country for Old Men. Jurassic Park. AI Artificial Intelligence. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Sweeney Todd. Children of Men. Malcolm X. Training Day. Remember the Titans. Desperado. Wall-E. Terminator 2.
Dude,
Those are all good.
That's why I love this podcast because that's such a wide range of films, all different types of genres, and it's like, yeah, they're all great.
They're all amazing in their own special way.
Yeah, they all got good. Even though some of those movies, like Desperado, is not the best fucking movie ever, it's still got a place, man.
It's like, within me there are two wolves, and one of them loves School of Rock, and the other one loves Mad God, and
we really don't have any hard parameters on what makes a good movie. I think the watchability is definitely one of them. There's some other things, like obviously we like a coherent story, but there's room for films that are just so shit that they're just fantastic. And yeah, so I'm very happy with that list.
same.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't seen Annihilation, please check it out. I think we are done with Alien April. I'm not quite sure if we figure out what we're doing for May.
I don't think we've really discussed May. I have a feeling since it might be a little bit before I post it, we might just do one or two movies, and maybe we don't even do a real theme. Or
it's going to be a busy month.
Or we just do like a, man, can you watch this May? And we'll just do each pick a movie or something.
Man, can you watch this May? May you watch this, please? Oh.
Yeah, because that will be my excuse to make you watch Chopper.
Oh, you've been talking about this forever.
Chopper's.
It's probably about time. Okay, you make me watch a movie that you really wanted me to watch.
And you do the same thing. I think that'll be good enough.
Let's do that
for May. Chopper. It knocked Grand Budapest Hotel off my Letterboxd top 4. That's how much I like Chopper.
Grand Budapest is...
I mean, I love Grand Budapest.
You put me on to Grand Budapest, and you put me on to Wes Anderson in general, and Wes Anderson is now like one of my favorite filmmakers. And because I just love the whole thing where it's like symmetry is everything in my movies. It's got to be symmetrical, and I just love that.
It's funny, when you were reviewing Nacho Libre, I think you said he reminded you of Wes Anderson, like the filmmaking in that. And I've been following this like shit posting movie Reddit, which is like best scene in Wes Anderson movie, and it's Nacho Libre in that bathroom where he goes, "When the fantasy has ended."
Incarnation.
Shout out to Jack Black for just running movies for 15 straight years.
Ruining movies?
Well, they're not the best movies,
No, I'm just kidding.
But hot damn does that guy get a check. He's Bowser in the Super Mario. He's in the Super Mario franchise, and he's in
Minecraft.
And there's been like 3 Jumanji movies.
Well, not to mention, I was going to say Panda Express. That's really racist.
Kung Fu
Panda. Where it's like those movies have been around since I was a kid. So Jack Black, he's been here. He's probably here to stay, unfortunately. Just kidding. I love Jack Black.
Yeah, he's fine. He seems pretty harmless. As far as like if we're gonna have a children's movie star, like why not Jack Black?
He's like a big gamer.
Yeah.
And him and his like son play games a lot and stuff. I'm like, you spend time with your kid. You're not a terrible person.
Look at you.
You're no Elon Musk, a fake gamer and a shit dad.
Bad father, bad gamer.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay frosty out there.
Yeah. Watch out for them Temu tariffs.
Which sucks because I was just getting into Temu too.
Well,
all my consumer goods are going to be super expensive, and I'm pretty upset. I bought a movie rug off of Temu for like $6, and it's like pretty decent quality. Some of like the printing got cut off, but it looks like videotapes, and it's all horror films. And I was like, for $6, sign me up.
The Pope died recently.
Yes, he did. Right after he met with J.D. Vance. So that's interesting. Meeting with the Pope gone wrong.
Prank gone wrong.
Prank gone wrong. It's just a prank, bro. That reminds me of that movie Two Popes.
Never seen it. It reminds me of that film Conclave, where the Pope died and they got to find a new one. And guess what? He's an intersex person.
This time the Pope died, they're gonna find a new one and he's a fascist.
It's just gonna be like, this guy's name's Adolf. Pope Adolf?
He really cuts his mustache very strangely.
It's interesting.
He drinks a lot of beer and eats a lot of sausage.
He's even having all these badges. There's an interesting shape.
Why does he dress in all black?
They don't kneel to pray anymore. They do this other thing. They put the one arm up.
And they're just like trying to give goodwill. What is it, like waving goodwill to others or whatever?
Yeah. My heart goes out
My
to you.
heart goes out to you.
Head ass.
Fuck you.
Oh, when the fantasy has ended, all the children are gone.
You know the ending scene where he like flies or whatever? That kind of chokes me up.
Makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
He's got his equal powers.
Because what is the song? What is the song? The theme song? It's like
I am.
Yeah. I am.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn. That's like, why is this so heartfelt?
This is just a backdoor Nacho Libre review.
This is just a racist film. It's not supposed to do that to me.
Which is more racist to Mexicans, Nacho Libre or Emilia Perez? Go.
Emilia Perez, obviously.
Oscar nominated, winning, I think, even Emilia Perez. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll watch probably a couple random movies in May, and we'll see you soon.
I got to try to figure out what I'm going to do. What film?
Probably make
I feel
me
like
watch.
I've showed you everything.
Yeah, make me watch something animated that I don't watch or something.
Oh, you know, I haven't really been into animated stuff recently.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because my frontal lobe is developed.
Oh, you're a man now.
Yes.
Well, we got a few weeks to think of that probably. So,
all right.
Peace out. Go Wolves.
Yes.
It's the playoffs
It
right
is
now.
the playoffs.
By the time I post this, we might be
It'd
eliminated.
probably be the end of the playoffs.
At the end of the road for us. So go for now. All right, bye.
Figuring stuff out.
Okay, well, that's what I want to ask you, because the other day I was watching this thing about pyramids, and people truly believe that the technology to build pyramids wasn't of this earth, because at the time the pyramids were being made.
So it was Europeans coming to Africa, seeing an amazing civilization that they could not imagine an African build, and they must then invoke some other cause that enabled them to build it. Excuse me, station there.
So how do you explain these pyramids being on various continents, whether it's South America, whether it's Africa?
So a couple of things. First, the most stable structure you can possibly build is a pyramid. Pyramids don't tip over. They don't get blown over in the wind. All right. And even when they erode and still keep a pyramid shape. So we could say maybe ancient civilizations built all kinds of structures. They just didn't survive thousands of years of erosion and